Good evening. Welcome to the City Council meeting for January 27th, 2026. Madam Clerk, will you please call roll?
Councilmember Dillard,
Here.
Councilmember Lothian,
Here.
Councilmember Suzuki,
Present.
Vice Mayor Cazares,
Here.
Mayor Rapstathis.
Here. We begin every meeting with an invocation and flag salute, and tonight the invocation and flag salute will be led by Councilmember Suzuki. Councilmember Suzuki.
Good evening. We gather tonight at a time of unrest and uncertainty in our country, when many of us are feeling divided or unheard. We pause to acknowledge our shared responsibility to move forward with good faith, honesty, and a commitment to working together. Today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day, a solemn reminder of the consequences of hatred, silence, and the erosion of truth, and of the enduring responsibility we all share to stand for human dignity and justice. At one of our nation's earliest moments of conflict, John Adams reminded us that facts are stubborn things. His words call us to truth, restraint, and moral courage, especially in difficult times. May we approach our work this evening with humility, respect, and a sincere dedication to serving the people of La Mesa. Please rise for the allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City manager comments?
I have none.
Community bulletin reports. We're kicking off the construction of the new downtown district sign. The La Mesa Village Association, in partnership with the City of La Mesa and the La Mesa Parks and Rec Foundation, is hosting a groundbreaking on Tuesday, February 3rd at 10:30 a.m. at the southwest corner of La Mesa Boulevard and Palm Avenue. Please be aware the La Mesa Boulevard will be closed starting February 3rd until February 5th from Spring Street to Palm Avenue for the construction. Convenient parking is available at Dade Avenue parking lot. The City of La Mesa is testing temporary speed humps as part of the pilot program to improve neighborhood safety and reduce speeding. 2 temporary speed humps are currently installed at Dade Avenue near City Hall. We encourage residents to try them out and share their feedback through our short survey on our website. We're looking for bands to play at our popular Sundays at 6 concert series. If you have the sounds to get a crowd on their feet, we want to hear from you. Submit your press kit and demo links to by this Saturday, January 31st. More details are found on our website. This is something that I started with former Park and Rec director and former city manager Yvonne Garrett. And our goal is, if you do have a band, that it's songs that you think would span a wide crowd. Because we have ages young to older than me. Our winter 2 and spring recreation guide is available now, and we're offering a variety of classes, activities, and community events for all ages. Programs started this week, but it's not too late to sign up. MTS wants to hear from people who live, work, and visit La Mesa about their experience with the bus and trolley. Take a 3-minute survey to share your feedback and be entered to win one of 3 $25 gift cards. And that's it for me, so I'll hand it over to Vice Mayor Cazares.
I have none, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Suzuki. Councilmember Lothian.
Yeah, just one. On February 12th, the mayor and the city council are going to have an in-depth tour. Helix Water has invited us to check out their new advanced water purification program. It goes online this year, and it's a $950 million project, so we're going to learn a lot. It's like a half-day tour with lunch. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Dillard.
I did announce this earlier this month, but I think it's worth me announcing again because we just had a really small crowd 2 weeks ago. We are finally going to break ground at the Spring Street MTS platform That property is going to be, have affordable housing on it, and the final grants finally came in to finish up the funding that's needed for that property. This is, just to remind you, MTS gifts the land so that a developer can come in and build the property at an affordable expense and make it available to people that fit within the category of affordable housing. And the breaking of the ground is late May, early June. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that because it's a long time waiting for them to get the final funding. So thank you.
Thank you. Any additions or deletions by staff or council?
None from staff.
Thank you. Item number 5 is a presentation, climate action plan, progress report, and presentation. Quite alliteration there. Ms. Hillary Ago, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Hillary Ego, and I'm joined by my team, Environmental Program Coordinator Serena Lee, and our Civic Spark Fellows, Cleo Goodwin and Maya Feldman-Dragich. Together, we work on implementing the Climate Action Plan, or CAP for short, and we're excited to present highlights from the past 6 months. In 2018, the City of La Mesa adopted its first Climate Action Plan, which is a roadmap of actions the city can take to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And in 2024, City Council adopted an updated CAP to ensure that the city is up to date with state targets, policies, programs, and technologies. An implementation work plan was recently completed with the support of the Environmental Sustainability Commission to feature CAP actions in the approved fiscal year 26 to 27 budget. The CAP also highlights co-benefits, demonstrating how actions can also improve community members' lives. For example, improving bus and trolley options reduces traffic congestion, improves health and mobility, and increases access to jobs and services. In alignment with the CAP, in 2021, City Council adopted a climate emergency resolution and a formal response in 2022, reaffirming its commitment to climate action. Over the past 6 months, staff have addressed all resolution actions through community outreach, school workshops, interdepartmental collaboration, regional partnerships, and support from university fellows and interns. Pictured here are some examples of events and programs. With the updated CAP, there is continued focus on equity, youth engagement, and reducing vehicle trips. Regular progress reports to commissions and council remain part of this ongoing work. Sources of greenhouse gas emissions in La Mesa come from energy, transportation, solid waste, water, and wastewater, and can be removed through the urban natural environment. The city has received greenhouse gas emission inventories from SANDAG, and the most up-to-date inventory is from 2016, reflecting the best available pre-pandemic data for community-wide transportation emissions. The city is part of a regional grant award for SANDAG's Smart Growth Incentive program for future greenhouse gas emission inventories and anticipates an updated inventory in 2026. On this pie chart, you can see an emissions breakdown, with transportation being the largest contributor, followed by electricity and natural gas. The graph on the right depicts the CAP's greenhouse gas emission reduction targets, which align with state targets.
The 2024 CAP includes 6 strategies: building energy efficiency, clean and renewable energy, clean and efficient transportation, water efficiency, waste reduction, and urban natural environment. Within each strategy are measures and actions that include programs and projects such as installing water refill stations, planting trees, and community cleanup programs. The CAP team includes 2 full-time city staff and 2 Civic Spark Fellows who serve in 11-month AmeriCorps positions for recent college graduates. We're also supported by 2 part-time College Corps Fellows from the University of San Diego, funded by the state. The team regularly collaborates with the Environmental Sustainability Commission, other city commissions, and serve on the San Diego Regional Climate Collaborative Advisory Board. In the past 6 months, the CAP team has hosted or participated in 24 outreach and education events, connecting with over 2,100 La Mesa residents. Highlights include Clean Air Day, La Mesa Safety Fair, Helix Charter High School Career Fair, tabling at the La Mesa Farmers Market, and Halloween in the Village, litter-free La Mesa cleanups, bicycle and e-bike education classes, household hazardous waste collection events, paper shredding event, and clothing swap events. In alignment with the climate emergency resolution, the CAP team has expanded its youth engagement efforts through collaborations with local school districts. These efforts include participating in the Helix Charter High School Career Fair, presentation to the Youth Commission, assembly presentation at St. Martin of Tours Academy, bike rodeos and safety classes, and family-friendly events such as Litter Free La Mesa and tree planting demonstration.
The CAP is interdisciplinary in nature, and we continue to engage city staff through team meetings and hands-on activities. Recent efforts include staff participation in Clean Air Day, presentations with the Public Works Department, and a tree trek with the Community Development Department to learn about public and private trees. Clean and renewable energy highlights include continued participation in San Diego Community Power, in which La Mesa is a member agency to provide renewable electricity to residents and businesses. Community Power awarded the La Mesa Park and Rec Foundation with a grant to replace gas-powered landscaping tools with electric landscaping tools, significantly reducing noise and gasoline exhaust being inhaled by employees and parkgoers. With the support of a $400,000 grant from the California Air Resources Board, the city has begun the design of a solar panel array and EV chargers for city fleet at the Public Works Operations Yard. For building energy efficiency, the city continues to identify municipal facility energy-saving opportunities, such as replacing streetlights with LEDs. As part of the La Mesa Green Business Network and being a certified green business, the city was awarded a $1,000 grant to replace a fridge with an Energy Star fridge at City Hall. And during the month of October, energy education on social media was shared to encourage best practices at home, such as unplugging unused devices to prevent vampire power. Clean and efficient transportation highlights include continued partnership with the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition in hosting safety classes for adults and kids through bike rodeos, city cycling classes, and e-bike webinars. And the city was recently awarded the recognition of 2025 Public Partner of the Year Award from the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition, who you will hear from next. The city continued to work on the EV charging station master plan, identifying priority locations based on community feedback and feasibility for future grant applications. For transportation and land use, the city continued to implement Vision Zero projects such as the Complete Streets Integrated Design Manual.
For water efficiency, the city partnered with I Love a Clean San Diego to provide student water education to over 200 students. The city continued to partner with Helix Water District through a presentation about water recycling and supporting their participation in the La Mesa Green Business Network and being presented their Green Business Certification. Throughout the city, water-efficient landscaping practices continue to be implemented in city parks, sidewalks, and medians. For waste reduction, the city continued to advance organics recycling efforts in partnership with the city's waste hauler, EDCO. Additionally, to encourage waste reduction, the city hosted 2 clothing swaps in September and December at the La Mesa Library, and participants diverted over 3,600 pounds of clothing from the landfill. The Litter Free La Mesa community cleanups continue to be a popular event, and in the first 3 years of the program, there has been nearly 1,500 volunteer hours at 18 cleanups. Residents also continued to benefit from waste reduction services, including household hazardous waste collection events, paper shredding events, and free access to community compost and mulch. To reduce food waste, the city has partnered with Produce Good to encourage residents to donate the excess fruit from their fruit trees. Urban natural environment highlights include the launch of the Free Tree Giveaway and Education Series in partnership with Tree San Diego. This included 5 educational events like tree steward trainings, a tree planting demonstration, tree treks, and gave away 103 free trees to 53 La Mesa residents. The city continues to be a leader in the planting and maintenance of public trees and was recognized as a Tree City USA for its 44th consecutive year. 2026 priority projects are listed here and include projects that reduce community-wide emissions, keep our air and water clean, increase local jobs and economy, and improve the public health and livability for La Mesa community.
Thank you for your continued support, and we are available for questions.
Okay, I read the 2024 Climate Action Plan Annual Report, and there was a sentence there, a statement, and I need to get some clarification. So it said, from 2023 to 2024, La Mesa experienced a notable reduction in overall traffic volumes alongside an increase in bike use and pedestrian trips. So according to the report, traffic or vehicle volume is down in La Mesa year over year, 39%. And it says pedestrian and bike lanes is up 37%. So to me, and to a lot of people I've spoken with, it's obvious that traffic congestion is way up in La Mesa. Everybody talks about how much longer it takes to get from point A to point B. So I'm curious, is that if that number is actually accurate, and if it is, if you could share your methodology, how many vehicles you counted, where you did it, when, because 39% is drastic.
We work with the consultant to receive our transportation data, and so we'll continue to work with them as we get our next iteration of data for our next report.
Say that again?
So we work with a consultant for our data, and
Okay.
they have traffic counts, and they do this annually in certain locations throughout the city. And with those counts, we are then able to analyze the data that we receive from them. They analyze the data.
I think what they're saying is they don't collect the data.
The consultant does.
That is
So how do we see it?
How do we see
How do
it?
we see I'd like to see the consultant's report. I mean, it's no way that the traffic's down 39%.
The city manager can provide you with that report.
Okay, yeah, I need to see that. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Councilmember Suzuki?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you, because seeing all the work you're doing in the community and I know that the St. Martin kids really enjoyed it. So thank you for your work and for encouraging people to think in a more renewable energy way. So thank you for that.
I just have one question. What is vampire power?
So vampire power is when, let's say you have your phone, that charger, if you leave it plugged in, it actually still pulls energy. So unplug your phone.
Got it. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, sorry, I thought someone else had a question. Our next presentation is a Public Partner Year Award for City of La Mesa by the San Diego County Bike Coalition. Hi, welcome.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Chloe Lauer, the Executive Director of the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition. And we are pleased to present this Golden Gear Award for Public Partner of the Year to the City of La Mesa. Partnership is key to advancing cycling in our communities, and this Golden Gear Award honors a public agency that has excelled in collaboration with the Bicycle Coalition. It's been a joy partnering with the City of La Mesa on bike education over the last few years, and more recently on the e-bike incentive program. In addition, we're really thrilled to be collaborating on an Office of Traffic Safety grant application for fiscal year 26-27 upcoming. City of La Mesa's consistent leadership is a beacon of hope in East County, where active transportation hasn't historically been prioritized. In particular, we are grateful to Hillary Ego, Serena Lee, Maya, and Cleo for their dedication to a bike and pedestrian-friendly future, which is essential to achieving environmental sustainability. And congratulations on all the great efforts with the CAP. That's great to see. So today and this evening, we proudly recognize the City of La Mesa as our Public Partner of the Year. Congratulations. And I'd be happy to offer this to you, Mayor, or, yes.
Maybe a quick photo,
Yeah, that would be great.
about right here. Welcome to the separate photo. Usually the director doesn't get those, but that's kind of a fun exchange. Thank you so much. Thank you. Next on the agenda are public comments. First is Russell Buckley. Oh, Russell Buckley. Come on up. Good to see you. Oh, no, sorry. Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Good to see you all. I came tonight to put in a plug for a place called the Challenge Center, which is owned by the city of La Mesa, and it's over on the north side in Sunset Park. It caters to handicapped people, not only those who are born handicapped, but those who have fallen off a motorcycle, had a stroke, or whatever. And it's a really great place, but the people that run it are planning to move to a different place in Claremont. My daughter and I have been going there for probably 30 or 40 years now, and I want to put in a plug. I don't know what the city plans to do with the building, but it's a historic La Mesa building. It was built by La Mesa merchants to house the San Diego Chargers about in the mid-'60s when they first came down from LA. And I think we ought to do something good with it. And what I'm here to suggest is maybe the city could use that building, run it as a gym, not only for the handicapped, but also for the elderly people with emphasis on flexibility and balance and those kind of things. I go to the Adult Enrichment Center every now and then. It's a great place, and maybe they could put that under their umbrella and do that. So I just want to suggest that you consider that. I'm not sure what you've already considered, but if you haven't considered it, consider keeping it open and run it as a place for both handicapped and elderly, actually anybody else that wants to go there too, to get a good workout in a place that means a lot to the city historically.
Thank you.
That's my pitch.
Yep, I've been there. Yes,
Okay.
thank you, sir. Next, conflicts disclosures by anybody on council. All right, we'll move to item 8, board and commission interviews. I'll hand this over to the city clerk.
Honorable Mayor and Council, the interviews that are being conducted this evening are part of the annual Community Police Oversight Board recruitment process. The applications from citizens who wish to be considered for appointment or reappointment to the Community Police Oversight Board have been provided to you, and the applicants have been invited to attend the meeting and make a brief 3-minute presentation describing their qualifications and interest in serving on the board. The appointments will be made at the February 10th council meeting, and I will call the applicants forward, and after each presentation, you may ask questions if you wish. Our first applicant is Bonnie Baranoff, followed by Clifton Eubank. Is Bonnie here?
Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff. My name is Bonnie Baranoff, and I live in Beat 2. I've volunteered, so I've actually applied for the advocate for people experiencing homelessness and other challenges seat. I've volunteered and advocated for our unhoused in East County for over 10 years. I'm the La Mesa site coordinator for this week's annual point in time count, and I know at least one of you up on the dais will be there. I sit on the East County Homeless Task Force Advisory Board, the La Mesa Spring Valley Educational Foundation Board also. There's a lot of unhoused families in our schools. And I also coordinate the La Mesa Collaborative. I chaired La Mesa's ad hoc citizen task force on homelessness, and our recommendations came out in this homeless action plan. All of our recommendations were approved by City Council several years ago, and one of our recommendations is what we see as a very popular and successful home program. So very, very proud of the work that we did there. I'm also a graduate of the Citizens Police Academy, and would really be honored to be serving on the Community Police Oversight Board. So thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next applicant is Clifton Eubank, followed by Aaron Landau.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. My name is Cliff Eubank. I was appointed to the board in the Beat 3 spot last year, midterm, and I'm up for a reappointment. I've really enjoyed the experience. I've learned a lot working both with my co-board members and the chief and the members of the department, did a ride-along. It's been very eye-opening for me. My background, I'm a surgeon, and I worked up in Oakland for a while. I helped establish the Department of Violent Prevention there, which is a organization that worked in partnership with the police department. Obviously, a very different situation up there from a law enforcement standpoint. It was a lot more contentious, to say the least. Here, we have such a well-run department and such a well-run city. It's been really nice to work in a collaborative environment, both with the officers and the other people in the department, the dispatchers, and the community, not to mention the home program and some of the other really great offerings that we have here. So I think we're leaders in San Diego County. Proud to be a part of it and happy to be here if and when somebody does come forward and need an advocate from the citizen side. If there are complaints and so on and so forth, there really hasn't been much to speak of for the last year, I'm proud to say. But when that moment comes, I have a fair amount of experience in that regard. So I thank you for the opportunity to potentially serve again on the board, and thanks for your consideration. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Our next applicant is Aaron Landau, followed by Todd McCooley.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, other members of the City Council. My name is Aaron Landau. I was appointed in March 2024 as a member of the CPOB as advocate for the homeless. My term on the CPOB in this role ended on December 31st, and I've obviously reapplied to be on the CPOB in this capacity for another term. La Mesa's motto is community policing. This is indeed a reality as the City Council and the La Mesa Police Department recognize that the homeless are an at-risk, vulnerable element of the community, a community that is in need of a wide variety of services to transition out of homelessness that fortunately those of us who are sheltered are blessed not in need to avail ourselves of. At each and every monthly meeting of the Community Police Oversight Board, I've learned a tremendous amount regarding the arduous and noble work that the La Mesa Police Department performs on a daily basis. The citizens of La Mesa are truly blessed to have a police department as stellar as the La Mesa Police Department. Chief Ray Sweeney leads by example. He's totally professional, transparent, empathetic, and spends innumerable hours after his regular long day attending events and meetings to get the word out about the work of the La Mesa Police Department and to answer the questions and concerns of La Mesa residents. Chief Sweeney is the best of the best. He will blush upon hearing this accolade. He will simply say that it is every member of the La Mesa Police Department that deserves this praise, both sworn officers and non-sworn officers. I've done 3 ride-alongs with the home team. The home team is a productive, hardworking, and concerned element of the La Mesa Police Department. I intend to do more ride-alongs if reappointed. I commend the City Council for expanding the program to 7 days. I have in my car home team business cards referring any homeless person I encounter to the home team. I explain to them the role of the home team and hand them a home team card. I have registered to be a counter in the upcoming annual point in time count this Thursday, the 29th. I feel that my service on the CPOB in this role has merited such a reappointment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next applicant is Todd McCooley, followed by Jeffrey McIlwain.
Welcome.
Thank you. Evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. I've been serving on the board for, I believe, the past 5 months as I was appointed midterm, and I've been able to learn quite a bit about the inner workings of the La Mesa Police Department, especially how the community relates. And as Martin mentioned, the policing where people in need has been excellent, and I've been learning more about this. I look forward to learning a lot more about this also through tours and ride-alongs also. I have a background with working with a lot of employees and conflict in the past, and but I see we don't have a lot of that in La Mesa, and as Martin mentioned also, it has a lot to do with the police department and how they react, and our Chief Sweeney, they do an excellent job. So I'm looking forward to continuing service as long as I can, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next applicant is Todd McIlwain, followed by Alexandra Metz.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Jeffrey McIlwain. I don't know Todd. Is there a Todd available? That's all right. Don't worry about it. Ditto's Chief Sweeney. You're wonderful. I want to make sure that Landau doesn't get all the credit here. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I've served on the board for the last 2 years, and I've been brought in a sense, as the person who teaches policing at San Diego State on the undergraduate and graduate level. I have over 30 years' experience consulting with police departments on the municipal, county, state, tribal, and federal levels, even globally. The idea is, as I teach my students, is to teach them the issue of best practices, to understand how research can back up different procedures. We've heard a lot, for example, about the home team here. There's, for example, there's research that looks into those sort of programs. We can look at research in terms of things like transparency. We can look at things in terms of how you structure patrol, how you do recruitment. These are things that I feel in the last 2 years I've been able to bring to the board. Every board meeting will have me chiming in and saying, okay, well, here's how this works. Explain, chief, explain how this process works. And the chief or his staff is always willing to sit and answer those questions. I think that we are very blessed to have this community where we have this ethos and this mindset that really just encourages that transparency, encourages accountability, and looks for the best, not just for our community, but also for our officers. For example, we have incredible wellness programs for our officers, and Captain Lynch, of course, is spearheading a lot of that, among others. But the whole commitment to the idea that you would take care of your officers, your staff, and others to make sure that they're at their best so that they do not let things that can impact them. Everybody has a bad day, right? We just don't want bad days to spill out in our community, just like we hope that the bad days of members in our community don't spill out towards our officers. The idea here is to basically understand that we have various amount of stakeholders in our community. Our job on this board is to listen to that, to communicate that, and then to communicate back the kind of the history, since we're there, that understand why the policies and procedures are set up that way. We are consulted with, this is all transparent, and it's an incredible process to be a part of, and I would look forward to the opportunity of being able to continue to participate in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next applicant is Alexandra Metz. Next is Elizabeth Morgante, followed by Susan Reeder. Is Elizabeth here? I apologize if I mispronounced your last name.
You got it. I'm Elizabeth Morganti. I go by Beth. And hi, Mayor Dr. A. and the rest of the council and staff. Thank you for having me here tonight to explain my application to serve on the Community Police Oversight Board. I moved to La Mesa a little over 30 years ago, and I absolutely love this community. I came here because I got a job at Grossmont Hospital, and I wanted to live in the community where I worked so that I could raise my children and be in close proximity to their school. I blinked my eyes, and 31 years passed by, and now I'm retired. And everybody asked me, what are you going to do after you retire? Because I think they knew that I dedicated pretty much my whole life, these past 31 years, to my job and to my kids. And didn't have time for much, hobbies. I did travel, but they asked me, what are you going to do? And I said, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to stay involved in the community and give back to the city that I love. And so this application for me is something that I was asked to submit by my neighbor, John Fonseca, who serves on the board, and he thought I would be a good fit because he knows my experience in oversight, in accountability. I've been to hundreds of, if not thousands over the years, committee and board meetings. I've served on many of the boards at Sharp Healthcare. And so I know all about reading financial statements, SWOT analyses, and developing plans. And I looked at your plan for 2025 online and thought, this is something that I feel like I could really contribute to as someone, not quite a newbie, but I have not been involved with the city of La Mesa as much as I like to, and I feel like now is the time. I'm really looking forward to learning more. I was fascinated when I read through the AB 481 equipment plan, and looking forward to learning more about how the city works, especially this police oversight board. So I welcome any questions that you have about me and my background, and again, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Our next applicant is Susan Reeder.
All my former students' parents.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome.
I'm Susan Reeder. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I've been a social worker for almost 30 years now. I started my career in the projects of Chicago. My husband and I'm a native San Diego from Pacific Beach area, North PB La Jolla area. And when we moved back here 25 years ago, people said, you should come to La Jolla, you should come to La Mesa. It's a great little town. And so we came here, and through the years, my husband and I, we have 4 adopted kids. Our oldest son probably has interacted with the police many times, both in good and bad ways. And he talks to everyone. And so I have gone out with the homeless outreach team in downtown San Diego for years. I helped get homeless people off the streets. I would go to the jails. I would go out with them. And then after that, I took a little break because I had 4 kids, and I worked at Father Joe's Villages for about 10 years and ran all their social service and mental health things there. And for the last 4.5 years, I've been at Veterans Village of San Diego, and I just kind of transferred more into working in a more outpatient role with college students at UCSD and other places. So I have a little bit more free time. My kids are all young adults, still asking for a lot of things. And I thought, I saw this posted, and I thought, this is really time. I always tell my kids, you can only make change if you're involved. So I'm doing this for them. They're all like, what, you want to go volunteer more? But my husband and I, we volunteer at AYSO soccer. We do a lot of things with foster care, and this is very near and dear to my heart, the La Mesa community and the police department.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the Community Police Oversight Board interviews, and I want to thank each applicant for attending tonight's meeting. And again, the appointments will be made at the February 10th council meeting.
And you do not need to stay for the rest of the meeting. Next on the agenda is interviews for the unscheduled vacancy on Parks and Rec Commission.
Yes. The interviews being, yes, Mayor, that is correct. So we have the applicants have been invited to attend the meeting this evening and make a brief presentation describing their qualifications. Our first applicant is Jonathan Austin, followed by Sherry Meek.
Welcome.
First, I'd like to say that was so beautiful, everyone that spoke. Proud to be part of La Mesa. It was very heartfelt. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Jonathan Austin. I am a landscape architect. I've been a resident of La Mesa for about 20 years now. My local park is Collier. And over the past few years, it's been beautiful to see the redevelopment, the revitalization that's happened in that park. And the usership is just way up, and it's exciting to walk through there with my dog, and just wonderful to see things that are happening here. And I would like to be able to be involved from behind the scenes a bit more too, and to make things happen. Parks are important to our community. Our open spaces are important. And it's just, I think, time to sort of step up and be part of the city that we live in. And I would welcome the consideration for this position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next applicant is Sherry Meek, followed by Jason Mullen.
Welcome. Hi.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Sherry Meek, and I'm here tonight because I'm interested in filling the vacant role on the Parks and Recreation Commission. I'm sorry, when I walked in this room, I got like this tickle in my throat. Maybe nerves, maybe, I don't know. We bought a house in La Mesa in 2022, and although I'm a native San Diegan, I never realized the sense of community here in La Mesa. It's been a great experience, and we have thoroughly enjoyed our time here. When I saw there was a vacancy on the Parks and Recreation Commission, I knew I could make a difference in my community because this role is perfect for me. I had a 35-year career in Parks and Recreation. I retired from the city of CNT, but my career actually started right here in La Mesa as a part-time recreation leader. So I feel like I've come full circle. I had many responsibilities during my career in Santee, some of which included coordinating youth day camps and senior citizen programs, along with creating several city special events that are still popular today. I had the opportunity to work with service organizations who volunteered at our events, so also responsible for the volunteer recreation program. Our adopted Marine Troop volunteered at events as well, and I coordinated their city-sponsored annual event for their families. Any city employee parties, including retirements, holiday celebrations, oath of office, and I even coordinated a League of California Cities event. So basically, any party type event connected to the city was my responsibility. I've also been involved in park and facility development and worked with outside organizations who brought sport events to our city and proposed activities for our parks. I worked with the Santee Parks and Recreation Committee as a staff member, attended several of the meetings, and created and coordinated their annual fundraising event. Not only have I had a successful career with a wealth of experience, now being a La Mesa resident has brought me greater sense of pride for our community. I am even more deeply invested as my daughter, who grew up in the La Mesa Spring Valley school system, now has a 2.5-year-old who I take weekly to many of the recreation classes, which I used to teach. My granddaughter even renamed MacArthur Park Playground Coco's Playground. With that, I hope you have heard what an asset I can be and how much it would mean for me to join this commission. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next applicant is Jason Mullen.
No. Welcome.
Thanks. Good evening. Yeah, my name is Jason Mullen. I moved down here in 2010, straight out of college. I got a degree in landscape management and didn't want to work where it snowed. So I got a job in San Diego and in La Mesa here, and never having been here was so impressed with how it was. Got married, and my wife, as families do, she got a dream job up in the Bay Area, so we moved for about 8 years. We just moved back down here a year ago and bought a house in La Mesa, and I was so impressed to see the progress that had been made at Collier Park, as other people have said, and just seeing the plant choices and everything like that, it was incredible. So my history, like I said, I got a degree in landscape management. I worked with a large maintenance company here in La Mesa for about 7 years. We worked on maintaining Grossmont College. Grossmont Center. We did also Our Lady of Grace up in El Cajon and a couple of other large areas. Since I've been home with my kids, I've been the stay-at-home dad, I've kind of switched over to more of the design aspect. And so I feel that with the understanding how maintenance works and then also how the design works, I feel like I'm able to have a great input on what plants and what other options are great for maintaining. Not just the actual design, but also, hey, this is going to be easy to maintain. This is not going to be easy to maintain. So yeah, I'm very excited to be a part of this. I think La Mesa does a great job with their parks and would love to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this concludes the Parks and Recreation Commission interviews. I want to thank each applicant for attending tonight's meeting, and the appointment will be made at the council meeting on Tuesday, February 10th.
And thank you very much for being here. None of you have to stay for the meeting either, unless you'd like to. Next on the agenda is the consent calendars, item 10.1 through 10.6. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second with one comment, if that's okay.
Sure.
Item 10.3 on the consent calendar is the acceptance of the single audit for the federally assisted grant programs for the year ending June 30th, 2025, and or 2024, I apologize. And I read it. It's not the greatest audit, unfortunately, for our city. But what I was really impressed by, and the reason that I bring it up, is the management responses and the way that it's been handled. I'm really, really proud of the city for getting on top of this and taking care of bringing on an interim finance director and now a permanent new finance director. And I'm really looking forward to seeing future audits that are really positive, because I know there's been a lot of work done behind the scenes that our residents don't often get to see. But I'm really thoroughly impressed by the management responses and also by the work of our finance department. So I just wanted to recognize that and all the work that's been done there.
Thank you.
Motion carries with all council members voting yes.
Item 11 is a first ordinance reading. And we have a staff report first. Okay, Ms. Santos, thank you. Welcome.
Good evening. Before I begin the presentation, I just wanted to take a moment to thank our restaurant owners, many of which are here this evening, for their time and ideas and input that they've provided to staff. Their feedback has helped shape the policy that's before you this evening, and we just can't say enough for their patience with us and the collaborative effort that they've put into this. And I know they've had long, boring evenings reading this policy. It's not as exciting as people would hope, but we're hoping that it will do several things. And first, it's going to expand where sidewalk dining can occur, and that's really exciting. It's going to be easier to use, and it's going to help activate more of our public spaces. And most importantly, it's going to provide flexibility so that we can have considerations for unique circumstances, because we can't account for everything in any one policy. So with that, we're very excited to present to you this evening. First, we're going to start with item 11.1, and this is related to repealing the ordinance. So first, as I mentioned, is the ordinance, and this is going to repeal Chapter 18.18 for sidewalk cafes. And then second this evening, for your consideration and possible adoption, is sidewalk dining policy, which will be considered under 12.1. Currently in La Mesa, we have two different opportunities for outside dining: sidewalk cafes and outdoor dining. Sidewalk cafes are specific to dining within the public right-of-way, and outdoor dining is specific to dining on or within private property. The sidewalk cafe ordinance was adopted in 1984 and allows for dining opportunities in the sidewalk area of the public right-of-way, specifically in the downtown village. An example of this is Centofantes, as can be seen on the screen on the left. The ordinance, which allows for outdoor dining opportunities on private property in all commercial zones, was adopted in 2000. An example of what outdoor dining is Casa de Pico's outdoor dining area located in Grossmont Shopping Center, as can be seen on the screen on the right. In 2020, the state of California suspended indoor dining for San Diego County due to COVID-19. To support businesses during this time, the city issued an executive order which temporarily allowed eating establishments to increase flexibility to utilize public and private outdoor spaces for dining. Since the end of the pandemic, the city has received consistent community support for maintaining and expanding dining opportunities citywide. So based on this feedback, the city began its efforts in updating policies for outside dining in the public right-of-way and on private property. The city will be updating regulations for outdoor dining in both the public space and private property, but in an effort to clarify the distinct differences between the two, staff is bringing forward the sidewalk dining update now. And then once the updated policy is adopted and implemented, staff will move forward with updates to the outdoor dining ordinance for eating and drinking establishments on private property. So our goals for the updated sidewalk dining policy include: we want to create a more streamlined process. We want to activate major street frontages and commercial properties throughout La Mesa. We want to promote economic development. And we want to retain clear paths of travel to ensure that our sidewalks and commercial properties are safe and accessible for everyone's enjoyment. With the adoption of the sidewalk dining policy, the existing sidewalk cafe ordinance would no longer be applicable. Therefore, staff recommends that the City Council introduce the first reading of the draft ordinance, which is found in Attachment A of your agenda packet, to repeal LMMC, Chapter 18.18. And staff is available for any questions that you may have.
Questions, staff, before we go to the ordinance reading? Sorry. That's correct. Okay. Yes, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of La Mesa repealing La Mesa Municipal Code, Chapter 18.18, entitled Sidewalk Cafes.
I'll make a motion to approve. God, thank you. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. That's why I got.
Motion carries with all council members voting yes.
And now we have a staff report considering the adoption of the sidewalk policy. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Laura Merker, and I'm here to present for your consideration the draft sidewalk dining policy for outside dining and commercial zones. By way of reminder, tonight's policy would only apply to outside dining areas located within the sidewalk area of the city right-of-way. As mentioned in the last presentation, the goals of the sidewalk dining policy are to create the streamlined process, activate major street frontages and commercial properties, promote economic development, and retain clear paths of travel. With the goal to develop a policy that balances support for local businesses, safety, accessibility, and overall experience of the public right-of-way, staff started their efforts by conducting best practice research of existing policies from other jurisdictions. Following this research, staff conducted a variety of community outreach methods, which included attending the La Mesa Farmers Market, distributing social media posts and flyers, a project webpage, meeting with local stakeholders, and hosting 2 community workshops, one at the La Mesa Community Center and one at a regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting. Based on all of the community feedback provided and best practice research, building, engineering, risk management, city attorney, planning, and fire staff have worked together to draft the proposed sidewalk dining policy that has been presented for your consideration this evening. A first draft of the sidewalk dining policy was posted for public feedback in November 2025 prior to workshop number 2. Staff received valuable feedback from the community and provided an overview of public comments and questions received on the draft policy in attachment F. Public comments and questions received included the following. Questions related to how existing sidewalk dining would be impacted by the new policy, requirements for renewals, change of ownership, termination, and no detrimental reliance, path of travel requirements, attachments to fencing, furniture on tree grates, and hours of operation. In addition, folks were excited to hear about the possibility to expand within the pop-outs in the village, but wanted further clarification on street furniture relocation. Since the Planning Commission workshop, staff has met with local restaurant owners to talk through their existing and proposed sidewalk dining areas and to discuss how the policy would apply in each case. Staff also met with a group of restaurant owner representatives to discuss questions on the first draft of the policy and to review revisions that were proposed to be made from the input received from the restaurants. Based on the feedback provided, additional revisions were made and a strikeout underline of changes made to the policy was posted for public review on January 16th. Community feedback from both restaurant operators and the broader community provided valuable insight that helped shape the proposed sidewalk dining policy in front of you today. The proposed policy is intended to address streamlining the process, expand opportunities, and ensure safe, accessible paths of travel within the public right-of-way. I will now highlight key components of the policy, any changes made since the first draft, and how they respond to the feedback and questions we've received. First, I'll go over the proposed changes in the review and approval process. Currently, the approval process for a sidewalk dining area requires a site development plan, an encroachment permit, and an encroachment maintenance and removal agreement, also known as an EMRA. The site development plan is a discretionary process, which means that the approval is not automatic and involves evaluating if a project meets findings. The encroachment permit is required for those to do work within the city's right-of-way, and the EMRA is the agreement which would outline the responsibilities of the permittee and the city to operate in the right-of-way. To further streamline the process, the policy proposes a staff-level review process, which would eliminate the site development plan and any public meeting process and the standard encroachment permit. The proposed policy requires only a sidewalk dining permit and an EMRA. The sidewalk dining permit would function similarly to the encroachment permit, but is specifically tailored to dining in the right-of-way, and the EMRA would still remain to outline the responsibilities. Insurance would also still be a requirement for sidewalk dining areas. As part of the new policy, staff will be creating a user-friendly process to submit insurance annually to ensure there is current and valid insurance at all times. This is essential for businesses to operate within the right-of-way and will be a safeguard for these businesses as well. Notification will be provided to permittees when the annual review is required. Fees are proposed to remain consistent with the existing fees for a new sidewalk dining area. Any businesses with an approved site development plan for a sidewalk dining area will not have to pay new fees unless changes are proposed. As part of the proposed policy, sidewalk dining permits and EMRAs would be renewed every 3 years. A 3-year renewal policy is included because publicly owned land requires oversight. We anticipate that this will be as simple as notifying a permittee when renewal is required, scheduling a site visit, and updating agreements as necessary, and therefore no fees will be required unless major changes to the permit are proposed with the renewal. We will further develop this program to ensure clear requirements for all applicants at time of renewal. In response to feedback received, staff will create a user-friendly change of ownership form. Because these agreements are non-transferable, a change of ownership would be accomplished through a simple, no-fee administrative process to update any agreements with the city and insurance as necessary. Moving on to location, existing standards allow for sidewalk dining areas within the downtown commercial zone. This area can be seen on the map on the screen. Locationally, sidewalk dining areas are currently only permitted adjacent to a street-level eating and drinking establishment. The image on the right demonstrates what this would look like. The proposed policy would allow for even more opportunities, including sidewalk dining consideration in all commercial zones. Existing widths of sidewalks may not accommodate sidewalk dining in all commercial areas, but the policy will allow for approval on a case-by-case basis. Through the proposed policy, sidewalk dining areas would still be permitted adjacent to the building wall, but staff has drafted a condition that will now allow for sidewalk dining areas within a city-designated pop-out with a street furniture relocation program. An example diagram is shown on the screen to demonstrate what this could look like. The street furniture relocation program would require all city-owned street furniture located within a proposed sidewalk dining area be replaced and or relocated by the city to another location, subject to city approval. This would not include street trees. An example of what a pop-out is shown on the screen. So here you can kind of see that the sidewalk area pops out further past those parking areas. And so this example provides where there's some existing sidewalk dining and then where benches and a trash container, street trees, everything like that are located. So obviously this is the location of where the new City of La Mesa sign will go, but pretending that this is not where it would be going and that a restaurant was located there, if they wanted to go into that pop-out space, the city would be responsible for relocating any of those benches. And so the draft policy was originally written that the relocation would be done at the sole cost of the permittee, but after further consideration of feedback received on the draft policy, the city will be responsible for necessary relocation of street furniture and those fees. To ensure opportunities for all current and future food establishments, outdoor dining in the public right-of-way would be allowed located either adjacent to the building wall, within a designated pop-out as discussed, or both, but limited to along the length of each establishment's frontage. This will help to ensure that dining areas are clearly defined with consideration of neighboring businesses and shared public space. An example of this is highlighted in yellow on the screen. In a corner situation, as can be seen, both of these would be considered building frontage. As stated previously, one of the goals of the policy is to ensure safe and accessible paths of travel for all users of the public right-of-way, in compliance with California accessibility standards, including the California Building Code and the Americans with Disabilities Act. In accordance, the policy includes requirements that all exits, dining areas, and the public sidewalk meet accessibility requirements. We received feedback that the path of travel requirements could potentially limit the size of sidewalk dining areas. And so we went back and we looked at it with our building official, and there's a lot of nuances to the California Building Code and ADA. And so we've included a more generalized requirements because there's some changes with the wheelchair accessible seating and everything like that. But one thing that will definitely remain is the unobstructed path of travel of 4 feet wide by 7 feet tall along the sidewalk area specifically. Since the draft also includes dining within the pop-out areas now, we also had to review site distance requirements at intersections. Best standard practice for public safety is a 15-foot radial clearance. And so I've highlighted what this would look like, and kind of from those blue arrows, you can see that it would be measured from back of curb, center point, out radially. Currently, the existing ordinance requires that all sidewalk dining areas be defined by railings or fencing. And in an effort to provide for expanded options for businesses, the draft policy would allow for enclosed, meaning fenced dining spaces, and unenclosed, meaning dining spaces not defined by a fence. So when is fencing required? Fencing is required for businesses that sell, serve, and or consume alcoholic beverages, sidewalk dining areas located within a pop-out, and for sidewalk dining areas on raised platforms. I've included an image on the screen showing what the unenclosed dining area would look like. If a business wants to get a permit for an unenclosed sidewalk dining area, it would have to be located directly adjacent to the building wall. All furnishings, equipment, and landscaping for the unenclosed sidewalk dining area would have to be broken down or removed and placed inside daily by 10 p.m. And in addition, this type of dining would not be permitted for businesses that sell, serve, or consume alcoholic beverages. It shall be noted that all fencing will be provided, installed, and maintained by the city within the downtown village parking district. All fencing within this area shall be consistent and conform to the city's standard drawings, which requires a 3-foot wrought iron fence. The parking district area is outlined on the screen. For fencing within the village, the intent is to create a cohesive, clean, and safe streetscape that aligns with the charm and character of the village. Staff recognizes the desire of business owners to provide options for umbrellas and shade, so staff is looking at infrastructure to accommodate that. The policy has been revised to allow for umbrellas to be affixed to fences if demonstrated to be done securely and safely through a separate building permit. An example of this is Hacienda Cazadores. Other attachments to fencing would typically not be allowed within the public right-of-way. However, the city will consider case-by-case situations. Some examples include holiday decor may be displayed temporarily, provided it is installed safely and subject to the city's discretion and approval related to health, safety, and welfare perspective. Another example is special event signage for city-approved special events, such as our famous Oktoberfest. Staff recommends City Council to add a condition to the draft policy stating special event signage placement will be authorized subject to review and approval of the Director of Community Development. Moving on to street trees. Street trees are part of the character of the village, so we've included additional provisions for policies that are designed to preserve and protect the existing street trees in the village. The draft policy ensures that trees will not be removed, trimmed, or pruned other than by the city. It also ensures that no awnings, lighting, or other furniture or equipment associated with the sidewalk dining area shall be attached to the trees, and that no liquids, ice, or waste shall be disposed of in tree wells or landscaped areas. Originally, the draft policy included a condition to not allow tables and chairs on tree grates. After discussions with some restaurant owners, staff gained additional context on how these spaces have been traditionally used. Staff confirmed that the tree grates throughout the village were constructed to be pedestrian and ADA compliant and are able to support tables and chairs. Staff shared this information with the Director of Public Works, who agreed to remove the condition within the downtown village with the condition that damaged grates within sidewalk dining areas would be repaired and replaced at the cost of the permittee. During the first workshop, we heard that aesthetics of the sidewalk dining areas was a high priority for folks. The intent of the furniture conditions was to create consistency by further clarifying what type of furniture and equipment is permitted in a sidewalk dining area and require outdoor furniture to be of a higher aesthetic quality, such as through colors and materials. Staff received some feedback from community members and further revised the policy to clarify that colors shall be consistent with the building design and no neon furniture, logos, or branding on furniture. And instead of no plastic furniture, we've revised the policy to require outdoor rated furniture, which could withstand outdoor elements such as heat or rain, obviously snow too, but that doesn't occur here. The draft policy also requires that furniture be maintained, cleaned, and replaced if broken. The hours of operation of sidewalk dining shall be the same as the associated food or beverage establishment, but no later than 10 p.m. The proposed hours of operation align with the city's noise ordinance. Failure to comply with the noise ordinance may require a noise technical study, which could trigger a lengthier and more costly discretionary review process. A review of other jurisdictions also shows that the proposed hours of operation for sidewalk dining areas is consistent with those of surrounding cities. For example, the city of San Diego, including the Gaslamp district, requires sidewalk cafes to close no later than 10 p.m. on weekdays and 11 p.m. on weekends. Any furniture noted on the site plan as part of the approved sidewalk dining permit may remain within the sidewalk dining area outside of hours of operation. Exceptions for this rule are all furniture for unenclosed, so those unfenced areas, and all non-affixed umbrellas shall be brought in daily. If umbrellas are affixed to fencing, they must be securely fastened, closed after hours. The policy also requires that any furniture or equipment not associated with the approved sidewalk dining area must be stored indoors at all times to ensure that these sidewalk dining areas don't become storage spaces. The proposed policy also gives the Director of Community Development the flexibility to consider and apply project-specific conditions to sidewalk dining permits on a case-by-case basis, when necessary to address the unique characteristics or constraints of a particular proposal from a health, safety, and welfare standpoint. So that concludes my presentation. Next steps are council consideration and adoption of the policy. So tonight, you are hearing and considering the adoption of the proposed sidewalk dining policy, and you just heard the public hearing, first reading to repeal the existing sidewalk cafe ordinance. Since that was adopted, the first reading, on February 10th, 2026, there will be the City Council public hearing's second reading of the ordinance repeal. 30 days after the second reading, on March 12th, 2026, the ordinance repeal and the sidewalk dining policy would go into effect. So after adoption of the policy comes policy implementation for existing sidewalk dining areas. 30 days after adoption of the policy, all businesses with existing sidewalk cafe or dining areas, whether it was approved through a site development plan or were permitted through COVID temporary era, will have the opportunity to apply for a temporary sidewalk dining permit to continue operations while final permits are processed. This will be a streamlined process and no fees will be required. The intent of the temporary permit is to ensure insurance is provided and there are no public health or safety issues. Information on how to apply for a temporary sidewalk dining permit will be provided after adoption of the policy. The deadline for all existing sidewalk dining areas to obtain a sidewalk dining permit is proposed to be 90 days after adoption of the policy. For those that have an approved site development plan but do not conform to the approved drawings on file, this would also be the deadline to come into compliance with the new policy. You might be wondering, how do I apply? So once the policy is adopted, there will be an option to apply for a sidewalk dining permit on the city's permitting software, Mainstar. Permit submittal requirements are outlined on the draft policy. Please note that those dining areas with that approved site development plan and are in compliance with the drawings on file with the city do not need to submit new drawings. In conclusion, the draft policy before you this evening reflects best practice research of other jurisdictions, community input, and local and state regulations. It provides a balanced approach that supports expansion of outdoor dining while ensuring safety, accessibility, and public use of the right-of-way for all, and provides consistency, clarity, and flexibility for unique situations. Therefore, staff recommends the City Council adopts the draft resolution adopting a policy for sidewalk dining in commercial zones. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Initial questions or comments before we go to speakers? Okay. Go ahead, either one, flip a coin.
I just have a quick question or really clarification. It said that trees shall not be pruned, removed, et cetera. But I just wanted to clarify if there's like a branch that starts becoming a potential danger, that will be taken care of by the city free of charge.
Yes, yes. And so if somebody notices that there's an issue with any of the existing street trees, they can call the city out and we will fix it.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. First of all, guys, wow, I know how long and how hard this has been. This is probably the biggest challenge I think you guys have done. I know the city, the restaurant's been waiting 6 years for this. They've been happy with the temporary, but at the same time, you're in limbo because you don't know what the future holds, and the outdoor dining is so important. So this is so critical to La Mesa and to our businesses, and again, I love most of this. I have a couple of concerns. They're not from me, they're from restaurant owners that I have spoken with. One of them, and clarify this for me. On number 7, first of all, you have an Exhibit A, and the wording was a little bit different than some stuff on the screen. So would the screen override what was printed as Exhibit A? Like, for example, the renewals. Like here on number 7, it just says a sidewalk dining permit shall expire and may be renewed every 3 years. But on the screen, you went into detail, and it made it sound like, oh, okay, it's going to be kind of passive. But here it doesn't sound passive.
Yes. The intention is for that to be as easy and seamless as possible. And so what we wanted to clarify in the presentation is what that process might look like, because we did hear some people had some concern that it might be
a big deal.
A big lift, yeah. It will not be.
And I'm in real estate, and sellers promise things and buyers promise things, and it doesn't matter what your intent is or what you say, it's what's written. So I want to make sure that what's written doesn't end up backfiring on a restaurant owner. The other big concerns are 9 and 10. This language is very scary to a business owner. Any sidewalk dining permit may be terminated for the city's convenience. If I'm a restaurant owner, I'm thinking like, that sounds kind of arbitrary and capricious, so that's a little scary. And then I thought that the patio closing at 10, not a big deal, but then I'm hearing that if you shut it down exactly at 10, it takes time. It takes an hour or so to shut down that patio, which means if somebody comes in at 8:30 or 9, they almost can't get a reservation. They're told, sorry, we've stopped seating. So I've heard there's concern about that, especially when we have warm summer nights. And I know I'm a big restaurant person, and if people start folding up chairs while I'm outside having dinner, that bothers me. So those are 7, 9, and 10 seems to be the ones that we're a little concerned about.
Would you like me to speak? Okay, sure.
Sure, that it's not like, don't worry, we've got good intentions, because 10 years from now, it could be a whole different scene.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. I think what the benefit is of us doing a policy versus an ordinance is it is easier for us to realign, make changes, and also we included language there that there would be flexibility on a case-by-case basis. So I think also we've included in there that the intention is to support local businesses, economic development, all of those things go to us being a user-friendly policy. So that's first. About the use of the right-of-way and there being any thought that there isn't a guarantee, that's language that's necessary to authorize the use of the right-of-way if there's not market consideration, fair market value. So we want to make sure that folks have the right to use that, and so that language has to be there because we have to oversee that. That is city property, public space. Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to add, and I'm not going to out anybody that I've spoken to that is a business owner, but yes, we want to make sure this is as easy as possible for business owners, but we also have to protect the city and what comes along 10 years from now. And I'll say that some business owners have said that sometimes they are in business or around businesses that are not good actors, not here in La Mesa, but in other circumstances. And they want to have the ability to step in if someone isn't being a good actor. You're assuming that everybody is going to play nice and do everything. That's great, and I hope they do. And I want this to go as well as possible, and I want everybody to get everything they want. But we also have to protect the city because we represent the people of the city, not the restaurants of the city. So I understand that. I'm a huge fan of our restaurants. I hope everyone becomes a gazillionaire, and they're there for 100 years. And I'm glad we're doing this. And so thank you for your time. I'm going to go to speakers now. First speaker is Gerald Torres, followed by Mark Hunter. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good
Mayor,
evening.
Council members. As you know, I'm a business owner here in La Mesa and have been here for many years, the last 22 years, I believe. And the city has always been great to me. I have no complaints. And I want to thank Lynette and Laura. They've been very accessible. I had an opportunity to meet with them about my particular situation. There was a couple of things that kind of struck me a little odd. My original patios have been pre-approved and were part of the site plan. The only modification that was done, for example, to City Tacos was that the tables, instead of one long table, there was 3 tables once upon a time. Don Palmer authorized that once upon a time, a long time ago. However, it was never on paper. It was La Mesa of yesteryear. So now for the new redevelopment or fixing of the patio, I have to pay a new permit fee of $3,000 to basically make it accessible for ADA. I have nothing against making it accessible, but I believe that paying $3,000 for a permit fee for people that have been doing this for a very long time and have been supporting the city for a very long time maybe can be reduced or waived. Same thing for Tour de Tapas. I inherited a permitted patio, and what I'm gonna have to do is basically modify it to accommodate ADA. I have no problem with that, but I don't think that the $3,000 permit fee should be, something that we all have to pay. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Mesa.
That
Thank
is
you.
noted. Thank you for that comment. I'm glad you came up here and spoke. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Hunter, followed by Tony Gaipa. Thank you. Write that down. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. I'm one of the owners of several of the restaurants in La Mesa. And I'm sure all of you have gone to downtown La Mesa and had dinner, hopefully in the summertime, because the summertime is obviously the best time to go to many of the outdoor restaurants in La Mesa. They're very relaxing, they're very fun, and all of us have a good time operating them. They're expensive to operate, but we do it for the community, and I think it brings a lot to our community, the outdoor dining. I think my only concern tonight is 10 p.m. It's very hard to have a last seating 8:30, 9 o'clock, and just like Laura said, you're sitting outside enjoying the evening, and all of a sudden umbrellas are coming down and chairs are being folded, and it's just not a relaxing experience. So I think something could be a little bit different than that. Maybe we do 11 o'clock. That way, most people don't come to dinner in La Mesa after 9. They usually show up 8:30, 9 o'clock for the last seating. They sit down, eat, they're done by probably 10:30, and then we start cleaning up. So maybe we did something like San Diego. You could even do 10 on the weekdays and 11 on weekends, something like that. But I think most people, they really don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of employees cleaning up and wiping down tables and things like that. So that's my only concern for this. Otherwise, they did a really good job. Thank you very much, because they worked with all the restaurant owners and took a lot of consideration from us, and I think all of us want the same thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Brenda Leak, followed by Alberto Morale. Oh, Tony Gaipa, followed by Brenda Leak. Sorry, early onset dementia. Sorry, I apologize. Welcome.
I'm right there with you.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor, staff, and City Council. I know staff has worked really hard on this, and I appreciate all their hard work, so thank you. Special thank you to staff. As you know, La Mesa's downtown village sidewalk dining strikes at the heart of what it means to foster vibrancy in our community. This document draft will eventually become the guiding force for the next several years, decades, on what the rules are. I think the document is good, but I think it needs some fine tuning here and there. My concerns are just a couple. Item 11, which covers the dining on both sides of the walkway, which would be like the cafe dining and the pop-out area. I don't think it really covers that well. It'd be nice on the back if we can add an example in establishment A, B, and C, which covers the sidewalk area, the cafe, and the Z one. But it'd be nice if we can add a description of what the cafe dining and the patio dining would look like, and further define that in item 11. A little further discussion on that. Also on item 10, hours of operation shall be no later than 10 p.m. maximum. It's problematic for many reasons, as you just heard. What do we do with the customers that are having their final glass of wine? Lynette stated that City of San Diego has 10 o'clock and then 11 o'clock on weekends. You know, that's a little better setup for the customers, and I don't think it's too extreme to ask for that. Once this gets approved, this will also be the framework for the next phase of outdoor dining on private property. What will that draft include? Will that include the same 10 p.m. language? So the outdoor dining on private property is people like Casa de Pico, Casa Gabriela, Surfrider. Will they have the same restriction on the 10 p.m. also? And if not, then a lot of these two different dining styles are right next to each other. And it kind of makes a conflict. Like one can have, beyond 10, and one has to remain at 10 as a maximum. So that's kind of problematic with other future phase of planning on private property. So it'd be nice to have both those be the same throughout La Mesa. And those are my concerns, big concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brenda Leak, followed by Alberto. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Mayor, council, city staff, especially you ladies. I mean, really, it was a lot. And I really want to thank you all for your time, your energy, your attention, and efforts in this, because it's been a lot. And as you can tell, we're all pretty passionate about it. I concur with you, Mayor, in saying, you know, the good actors, because item number 9 for me, like we are all getting along right now. We're all a great family, right? But sometimes we might not have a good actor. So the next group of people that come in when we're still trying to dine and have our restaurants, we may not have such a understanding group of people that come into us, and they may want to stick their finger in our faces and tell us we can't do something, and it's quite triggering for me. So I feel like working with something that has a little more of a regarding the, the city's convenience to terminate within 30 days, we need to have a little bit more time than to just pull the permit in 30 days. What if we're out of town or sick or taking care of something when we don't even know about it? Now we're coming back to our restaurant and one of our employees has allowed something to not happen. And we already have a municipal code regarding the 10 p.m., right, that we have to enforce, and we have a great police department that will assist us in that. But with number 9, I really hope that we would have a little more language in there regarding what entails the withdrawal of a 30-day of 30 days for that permit. And I respect that this is your property and you're allowing us to do this. But that feels like it should be a little deeper. We should really have a few more taglines on that. And then the hours of operation, I appreciate that maybe we're a case by case, but maybe have some flexibility written in on that 10 p.m., the 11 o'clock on the weekends. Sunday nights, when we have a holiday the next day on Monday, Sunday nights can actually be pretty fun for people to be out as well. So I would encourage us to, on occasion, have this Sunday night. But I also want to mention that at 10 o'clock, if we're closing at 8:30, Curbside's a huge dog-friendly restaurant, and so we only have outside dining for the
30
most part.
seconds.
And if we have to say at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, I'm sorry, we don't have accommodations, then that opens us up for a little bit of some shadiness. But I respectfully appreciate all of the work and all of your energy and all of your considerations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Alberto? Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Well, it's very little left to say because everybody's been said, but just first of all, I want to take the chance to say thank you for all the work. They've been very patient also with us and understanding because, last time we came a long way from the previous, proposal. It was really tough for us to understand what we're going for, and when we present all the challenges that we would have faced, they understand, they really work with us. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. Come to the 2 points that everybody really pointed out. The first one is the 10 o'clock, and I agree. Being there, and I'm sure everybody understood how important it is the patio for restaurateurs, especially their 50% of the occupancies on the patio. So limited that and stop by, be ready, actually be clean by 10 o'clock. I agree there's basically, we got to stop serving at 8:30. And on the weekend is really will compromise the business. So would appreciate reconsider that, and like it's been said already a couple of times, if we can stretch weekend by 11 o'clock, I think it would be okay by 10 o'clock because, everybody, stop dining in La Mesa at 9 o'clock. So the other thing, I understand there's something, a language that is got to be done, point 9, there, the city have to have, power over the bad players. I have to protect the city, and I do understand. But again, I want to make sure that everybody understand, when we go and invest so much money in a restaurant, and by illusion probably, because we shouldn't do that, we really count on the patio because it's part of the restaurant. Having no security whatsoever, like at any blink of an eye, this thing can disappear, it's kind of scary. So, one thing that makes me happy, really, I see that we're repeating the same points, and that shows that, we stick together, we're a group, we're family more than a group. I love that, and I feel like I'm speaking for everyone, and if we reconsider this language, that probably, there is some kind of a
20 seconds.
little protection, it will be much better for us. Thank you again for all of us to work so hard on this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now I'll open it up to comments and/or questions for staff. Councilmember Dillard?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you so much for all the hard work and your endurance in all of being patient and really listening. It's commendable, so thank you for that. I do have a question about the 10 o'clock. I think that really stands out to me, and I'm thinking, when you say 10 o'clock, first I need for you to define what exactly happens at 10 o'clock. So, because maybe that's the first thing that maybe people are misinterpreting, because I'm thinking 10 o'clock doesn't sound reasonable either. So what does it mean when you say 10 o'clock?
So 10 o'clock would be that the operation outdoors would be shut down. That was the intention of that. And that follows in alignment with our noise ordinance in our municipal code. So when we were drafting this policy, one of the key factors was that we wanted to keep it outside of an environmental review for both the project level. So when we're doing this as staff, bringing forward a policy to you, that could be subject to CEQA as well. So we wanted to make sure we stayed out of that. And then also on a case-by-case basis, as folks propose a sidewalk dining opportunity, we don't want it to go into that realm. So the best way was for us just to be in alignment with our municipal code. So that's where that comes from. But there is, again, flexibility of that.
That was my next question.
Right.
What can we do
Right.
about this so that it's not so disruptive?
So, right. So what I'll say is, again, the city is not actively going out with code compliance, and we're not going to be there at 10 p.m. with a clicker and
patrol.
counting.
Yeah.
Right. So these folks self-police, as does our community, right? They're going to advise us if something's not working or is working. The great thing about the policy is that we can adjust accordingly. So if the council wants us to consider something else, we can see if that will work, implement it, and then if it doesn't, we can come back to you with a report, and, such as the weekends being
Yeah.
a little later.
And that's what I was thinking of too, because it's not just the weekends, but a lot of times there's a holiday on Monday, and people are able to stay out later. And, we don't want it to be so stringent that, workers are coming out and rudely, taking everything off the table, what I mean? It just sounds so rigid,
Yes.
And I kind of think that the owners are right about the hour and a half window that, pushes them over 10 o'clock if they continue to serve their customers outside. And it sounds like we're restricted. So what kind of flexibility could we have if we're restricted by law? So how would that work?
Could I just ask the city manager to comment on this?
Absolutely.
Just for clarity here, these are the current operating rules right now, 10 o'clock.
Correct.
We're not changing anything. This is how we've been operating. So whatever the restaurants have been doing, they can keep doing what they're doing. There's no change.
So for the sake of, I know this is not an ordinance change, this is not an ordinance, it's a policy. For the writing part of it, if someone wanted something in writing, I'm a restaurant owner. I would only last 10 days, but anyhow, just pretend I'm closing my doors at 10 o'clock. I'm not clear of the patio at 10 o'clock. And I hear what you're saying, whatever you're doing now, but if someone is concerned that, well, that's because we're all sitting right here, and like you said, if there needs to be a guarantee when we're all gone, and we're not sitting here on the dais, what could the policy reflect to give some assurance that at 10 o'clock you've said last call to everybody, or whatever you're doing? I don't know what's happening now in your restaurant. Okay.
Well, and a bad actor too. I mean, you have to
Well,
consider
that's
like
what I'm
everything
saying for
might be
them.
great
I'm saying
now.
for them, that the restaurant owners might come to the city and say, hey, person X just started 5 years ago or 2 months ago, and they're making it bad for all of us. They have, that's why some of the restaurants came and said, we want uniformed seating. We don't want neon, whatever. And again, I'm not going to call anybody out or put my beyond any of you who've told me that, but I get that we rise and sink together sometimes in this field, and so you want to be protected as well. I'm gonna defer to Vice Mayor Casares.
Thank you. Did the city attorney have something? I see your lights on. Am I good?
I'm just getting ready, just in case.
Okay, perfect.
I just got a feeling.
Okay, wonderful.
As soon as we start breaking the law, he'll jump in. You
Okay,
can feel it.
well, what I'm going to share, I've already worked with our city attorney and our city manager, so I feel pretty good about, and Councilwoman Lothian, but I'm going to start about why this kind of matters to me. So something very real and very local is the huge success of our La Mesa restaurants. Over the last few years, it has been easier and easier to get more of my friends who were in our 20s and 30s out here for happy hour, staying out here to go out instead of partying in Pacific Beach and throwing up on the curbs, which no one wants to do. I would much rather us have a glass of wine at one of our wonderful restaurants and then go home. Throw up in your own homes. But last week, my dad turned 65, and at his birthday party, many of the gifts that he received were actually gift certificates to restaurants on La Mesa Boulevard. And that really stood out to me because most of those gifts didn't actually come from people that live in the city of La Mesa, but they knew about our restaurants because they have gone to them on their own because they have incredible Yelp reviews and Google reviews. They've heard about them on word of mouth. We even have our own La Mesa and East County influencers, like on social media these days. And I think that's been so great, but that's not why they've succeeded. They've succeeded because of the people that came here tonight and the ones that haven't been able to, that have been working really hard. As I've shared before, my parents are small business owners, and that has allowed me to have the life that I love. That put me through college as the first one in my family, and I know that's the same for a lot of their restaurants, and so I'm so glad to have them here tonight. But our restaurants aren't just serving our residents, they really are a regional draw. It's economic vitality, it's something that we should be proud of and actively work to protect. And so I really want to acknowledge the partnership that brought us here tonight. This process began rocky at times, but I truly believe this is a strong example of collaboration between city staff, particularly Lynette Santos and Laura Marker, our city management team, the council, including Councilwoman Lothian and myself, who we've been able to work together on this, and she's been talking about it since before I was even elected. Right. And our many wonderful restaurant owners and operators, especially Brenda Leek, who I've had many a morning inside Curbside before they open, to chat about this. The changes from the first draft are quite significant, and immediately when we brought them to you, you were already working on them, and you wanted to make sure that this worked for everyone. And so I'm so grateful for the time and effort and energy that you have put into this, that our owners and operators have put into this, and that my colleagues and I have also been able to put into this. This kind of collaboration it's how we create good policy in the city of La Mesa. And so thank you to everyone. We've also watched what happens elsewhere. The city of La Mesa's, or city of San Diego's spaces places policy, while initially exciting and while working in some areas of San Diego, it's nearly decimated outdoor dining in some areas like the Gas Lamp District. And that was really a hub post-COVID. Now La Mesa is becoming that hub for the region. And if we're gonna lean into that identity, it's critical that the policies we pass support our restaurants and protect the dining experience for patrons, respect pedestrians using our public sidewalks and benches as well. And I believe that we're very close with the proposed policy before us, but I am going to propose a few amendments. They're minor, but I believe that they're important. And I think that they will provide clarity, transparency, and fairness, especially around enforcement and permit termination and hours, because I believe it's critical that we get this right. So with that context, I'd like to read the revised policy language I'm proposing into the record. Section 7 I would like it to now state, the sidewalk dining permit shall expire 3 years from the date of issuance and may be renewed for successive 3-year terms. Permits shall be automatically renewed administratively unless the permittee has incurred multiple significant violations as determined by the city of applicable permit conditions or municipal regulations. In the event of such violations, the city shall provide written notice of infraction to the permittee within 14 business days of receipt of a complaint. The permittee shall be afforded 30 days to correct the identified violations prior to the permit's expiration date, except where the nature of the violation poses an immediate threat to public health or safety. If the permit expires and is not renewed within 30 days following the expiration date, all sidewalk dining furniture and equipment shall be removed in its entirety from the public right-of-way by the permittee. Section 9, any sidewalk dining permit may be terminated for the city's convenience at any time on 90 days prior written notice by the sole determination of a vote of the city council. Section 10, sidewalk dining hours shall coincide with the operating hours of associated food or beverage establishment. Beginning at 10 p.m., no additional patrons shall be seated in sidewalk dining areas. Patrons seated prior to 10 p.m. may remain until their dining service is complete. All sidewalk dining furniture that needs to be removed shall be removed from the public right-of-way within 1 hour of the establishment's closing time. So with that, I move to approve.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Start
yeah.
moving there.
Yep.
Everybody hasn't had a chance to talk yet.
No problem. I wasn't sure if
Sorry.
anyone else wanted to.
Right, so we got to give them that opportunity.
Yep.
Councilmember Dillard was in the middle of talking, so I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, I'm pretty much, and actually, Lauren, you actually answered the question about the 10 o'clock thing.
That's the
And
direction I was going.
I was trying to get a clear understanding of that, so everyone was on the same page. So thank you for that, and I didn't have any other questions.
Okay. Councilmember Suzuki? Okay, just want to make sure. Because we have to do this in order. All right.
100%. Okay, so I move to approve the new sidewalk dining policy with these amendments, and I further move that city staff be directed within 60 days of adoption to publicly publish a detailed and transparent process outlining how violations are reported and addressed, and the process by which businesses may appeal enforcement actions or permit termination decisions.
I second.
If staff could, we also had a recommendation in our presentation about special event signage. And so if I could read that to see if you agree. The special event signage placement will be authorized subject to review and approval of the Director of Community Development.
Yes, I accept that in my motion. Glenn, did I break the law?
You're stealing my thunder. But go ahead, it's a very good job. I think it really addresses the concerns. We'll fit it into the language that's existing right now in the draft just fine.
Votes, the system is thinking, okay, there we go. Motion carries with all council members voting yes.
Right. Thank you very much, by the way. Thank you for participating and meeting with our staff and going back and forth. I mean what I say. I hope that you're all gazillionaires and are here. And, but I'm glad that you're doing business in La Mesa, not as a member of the city, but as a lifelong resident. So when I was growing up and driving home from Gemco at 9:30 on my 10-speed bicycle, 9:30 at night, nothing was open. So I'm glad that you're there. So they probably served me too when I was 14. Who knows? Chief, look into that, would you? Look into that, would you, Chief? Possibly. Who knows? Anyways, but nothing that a 14-year-old could go into was open. So anyhow, item 13. Let's move on. Council-initiated item. I'll hand this over to Councilmember Suzuki.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm proposing city staff research electric bicycle safety regulations for La Mesa. This isn't about limiting access to alternative transportation. It's about protecting our residents, especially our young people, from a rapidly growing public safety concern. The numbers are alarming. According to the American College of Surgeons, over 20,000 people are injured while riding electric bicycles annually nationwide, with approximately 3,000 requiring hospitalization. And these aren't minor scrapes. These are serious injuries that are straining our healthcare system and devastating families. And here's what's making these e-bikes particularly dangerous. They're significantly faster than traditional bicycles. While standard bikes travel at modest speeds, e-bikes can reach between 20 and 28 miles per hour. That's highway speed on what looks like an ordinary bicycle. Even more concerning, these bikes can be easily modified to bypass maximum speed restrictions, dramatically increasing the risk of catastrophic injuries. Our current safety infrastructure isn't designed for this reality. Helmets certified by the Consumer Product Safety Commission are only tested and intended for bicycle speeds of 20 miles per hour and under. For speeds above 20 miles per hour, Department of Transportation certified helmets are recommended, and yet most e-bike riders don't know this distinction exists, and many aren't wearing helmets at all. The American College of Surgeons recommends universal helmet use for e-bike riders with the type of helmet determined by the speed capability of the electric bicycle. This makes sense, but it requires education, awareness, and potentially regulation. I'm asking city staff to research what other municipalities, including Chula Vista, just passed an ordinance, and it's pretty thorough, what they're doing to address e-bike safety, what regulatory options are available to us, and what education campaigns might be effective. We have an opportunity to also be proactive rather than reactive, to implement sensible safety measures before we see significant statistics reflected in our own community, and it's been reflected in social media online. What is starting to go on with our kids riding these e-bikes. And it's dangerous because, you have traumatic brain injury, and you have a lot of consideration with these, our kids, riding bikes that could go up to 20 to 28 miles per hour, and they're doing wheelies. And I was just in Bird Rock, and a boy, he couldn't have been older than my son, who's 10, was doing wheelies in back of me. And that's frightening because, if they're driving like that and we don't have the correct regulations, or at least, appropriate regulations we have to really think about putting those into, I think it's a safety concern, and I'd like to see less injury, at least if it's something we can prevent. I think we should, by all means, try to do it. So I'm asking for consideration of directing staff to draft an ordinance establishing rules governing the use of e-bikes within the city to protect the health, safety, and welfare of riders and the general public.
Is that your motion?
I am making the motion, yeah.
I will second that motion.
Motion carries with all council members voting yes.
To your point, I think the vehicle code should be changed. I talked to someone about going to Sacramento just because there's young people taking the pedals off their bikes to make them into flat-out motorcycles.
Yep.
So they're taking the chains and the pedals off their bikes and retrofitting them, so they're not e-bikes anymore.
Yeah.
So, but it needs to be across the state to really get some of these laws to work, and so there's a 13-person committee, and that's vehicle code that needs to be changed. I'm all for it. So anyways, item 13.2 is, Councilmember Suzuki. I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you. I wish everybody had stayed. No, I'm just kidding. They're like, we're out of here. Okay, well, so I'm.
We had an option
No,
to
thank
leave?
you.
What?
My besties
Oh, no,
are
no.
here.
Oh, sorry. Oh. Okay.
So now I'm proposing La Mesa join the GovAI Coalition. It's a network of municipalities working together to navigate the challenges and opportunities of artificial intelligence in local government. Artificial intelligence isn't coming to local government, it's here. Whether we're ready or not, AI is being integrated into municipal operations, from traffic management to permit processing to public safety systems. The question isn't whether it will affect how we serve our residents, but whether we'll shape that transformation thoughtfully or simply react to it. The GovAI Coalition offers us something invaluable: collective wisdom. Rather than reinventing the wheel or learning through costly mistakes, we can benefit from the experiences of other cities facing the same decisions we are. This collaborative approach allows us to share best practices, identify pitfalls, and develop responsible AI policies together. Consider the challenges ahead. How do we ensure algorithmic fairness in city services? How do we protect resident data privacy when using AI tools? How do we maintain transparency and accountability when decisions are informed by machine learning? These aren't theoretical questions, they're practical governance issues that demand informed, coordinated responses. Joining GovAI positions La Mesa as a forward-thinking community, and we would be the first San Diego city joining this coalition, which comprises 200 cities around California. It demonstrates that we're committed to responsible innovation, that we take our stewardship of public resources and public trust seriously, and that we're willing to learn from and contribute to a broader conversation about technology and governance. And I don't think it's 200 cities. It might be just 200 organizations around California, because there's still really the 900 organization coalition includes places like City of Seattle, New York, so across the board, City of Honolulu. So it costs nothing to join GovAI. The cost of isolation, of making preventable mistakes or missing important opportunities, could be significant. I'd like to move to consider, or at least move for the city to become a member of the GovAI Coalition, founded by the City of San Jose to advance responsible and purposeful artificial intelligence practices in the public sector.
Is that a motion?
Yes, it's
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right.
But I wanted to.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
So first of all, I love this. I do, and I want to thank you for taking the initiative and drafting something so lawyerly. And there's a lot of people that are talking about this, and a lot of concerns, and all it does take is one bad actor. So I appreciate that. The only question I have, and maybe you can help me just understand, number one, what's the difference between going online and being a part of the, what do you call it, a GovAI, and when it is updated, how quickly are we told, and to the point where it would be helpful for us to know, like as soon as possible?
Yeah, so actually, that's a really good question, and that's something that I asked the City of San Jose, and I was lucky to be able to speak with the co-founder. And it's important for us to be a member because you get to be part of the conversation right away. And AI is changing. It's changing as we speak. I mean, it's constantly changing. And right now on the website, the resources are 6 months to a year old. Versus if you're part of that conversation, you are, having dialogues with people at that time and able to confront it at that time. And so we'd be part of the chats, we'd be part of the community that is having those discussions, and so it'd be real time versus seeing what they're putting on, and it might be stale, unfortunately, because when you think about it, even just maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, how many of us were using ChatGPT? Now, how many of us are using it, and at the League of California Cities last week, they asked that question. They said they asked that question last year, and only 50% of the members raised their hands. This year, they asked us all, and all of us use it. So we need to put these, we need to be part of the conversation, and we need the resources and access to the resources in real time so that we can confront the issues and be proactive versus reactive. Because if you're reactive, obviously it's going to get into, then it increases the chances of litigation. For instance, one of the things that we should know and that I learned is that, our ChatGPT conversations as council members or as staff then they could be Public Records Act. And so if you're having a conversation with ChatGPT about what you're learning, if someone makes a Public Records Act request and wants to know everything to do with e-bikes, you have to produce those chats. You could potentially have to produce all of your chats if you have access to it. So these are things that we really need to be part of. And we also owe it to our constituents to be transparent about how we are using AI, and whether, they can reach. And I have to say, city manager and I spoke about it. I'm really proud of La Mesa because our people have access to real people, because it's very frustrating to get on the phone and call people and not be able to reach someone. So being able to give people access to someone, if you can't use AI or you can't use the chatbot, then you really, it's important for us to do that. And these are things we're going to have to consider. And being a member of GovAI would afford us that access.
I'll call the vote.
Motion carries with all council members voting yes.
Thank you. Council committee reports. Councilmember Dillard. Okay. Councilmember Lothian. Councilmember Suzuki.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I sit on the San Diego Community Power Board, so I just wanted to say on January 15th, San Diego Community Power approved new electricity generation rates that deliver the biggest savings compared to San Diego Gas and Electric in the agency's 5-year history. Most customers will see a 4% discount through the default Power On service, while customers who choose the Power Base option will receive a 10% discount. For those who want to go fully renewable, the Power 100 option provides 100% clean energy for just $1.30 more per month than SDG&E's bundled service, which is only 41% renewable. So good news from from San Diego Community Power, and I'm really glad that La Mesa is a member of Community Power.
Vice Mayor Casares.
Thank you. SANDAC has been in the news a little bit lately because of the RGIS system, which is where all of our cities and the county input data from our police officers and sheriff's department. And there's a lot of misinformation about how accessible that data is. There were accusations that ICE was using it for deportations, and that ended in 2017. But we are currently reviewing it at SANDAG to make sure that everyone is thoroughly protected. The city of La Mesa is very much in alignment with SB 54, and so I am not concerned about our city. But because it's been in the news and because I've gotten outreach, I just wanted to share that we started the review on Friday. We're going to continue that review, and if any major changes occur, I will make sure to share them here from Sandag.
Thank you. AB 1234, no one?
Oh, yeah, there's.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry. Okay, so.
I don't.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I know, but you have vampire power, so I traveled to Sacramento January 20th to 23rd to participate in the League of California Cities Conference. I was appointed in December to the Governance, Transparency, and Labor Relations Committee in December, and so I met with the committee on January 22nd, and that is how I met the city of San Jose, GovAI co-founder. So we discussed AI policies and how to build on public trust.
That's a good report. Thank you. City Attorney, predictions for the Super Bowl? Better hurry, it's coming down. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Time's up.
Right.
We're adjourned.
I'm rooting for the Patriots because of our city manager. Our city manager's from the Massachusetts area, and I know he's rooting big for him, so I'm behind him.